Work style. Independent, team player, manager, bureaucrat, follower. So what is your style of working? The independent persons like working by themselves and making sure that they remain in control of their business. The team player likes to be part of a team. The manager likes to manage a team. The bureaucrat likes to keep distance from the people they deal with and enforce their point of view on others. And the follower just wants to be told what to do. Let's say we were discussing a topic on health, medicine, politics, or religion. Would your primary interest be in the person who is delivering the information or the information itself? Those who have the person as the high frame will attack the person, while those who have the information as the high frame will attack the information. One judges the person, the other judges the information. One judges the person, the other judges the behaviour. And we see this meta program played out in politics every day. And now we get to the scenario type meta program. Negative, positive, pessimism, optimism. An optimist may say the glass is half full, whereas a pessimist may say the glass is half empty. A pessimist may focus on the worst case scenario, on scarcity and what could go wrong. An optimist may focus on the best case scenario, on abundance and what could go right. So depending upon the context, you sort for the negative or the positive, on what you want or what you don't want. Do you reflect on negative memories or good memories? Is the focus on what went right or what went wrong? In terms of the future, do you think about what could go wrong or what could go right? In terms of a desired outcome, do you use words that describe what you don't want or what you do want? And this brings us to the philosophical meta program of why, how. So why people will think about the origins of the present state, whereas how people will think about solutions. Why people will want to understand why something happened, why the world is this way, whereas how people will just want to get results. So is your focus on the problem? Do you keep asking yourself the question why in respect of the problem? For example, why am I like this? Or is the focus on the desired outcome? Do you ask questions like, what do I want? How am I going to get it? When do I want it? Or who can I get to help me? Who do I need to be? Why do I want my desired outcome? And now we get to the time sort meta program, past, present, future. So do you have a preference for referencing the past, the future, or the present moment? In general, perceivers are more present-oriented, sensors and judges are more past to present-oriented, intuitors are more focused on the future. So do you know what your timeline orientation is? So in time, that's where past is behind the body and future's in front. Through time is where the timeline's in front of the body with the past to one side and the future to the other. Between time, it's like through time, except the timeline goes through the body. Some people have curves in their timeline. Some may have a fan shape. In some, the future's at an upwards angle. Some have a circle with past and future, meeting behind the body. Some have a vertical timeline with the past going down and the future going straight up. So now we get to scale, meta program, global details. So the global details meta program relates to intuition and sensing. Intuitors tend to think in global, general, and abstract terms, whereas sensors tend to think more in terms of specific details. It's the forest or the trees. So are you a big picture person or do you prefer handling the details? You might be a big picture person, but how big? You might like handling details, but how small? And those on the political left tend to prefer concepts, while those on the political right tend to prefer practicalities. Concepts are more global, while practicalities are more specific. Now, Warren Buffett, he's an accumulator, and his strategy for success is to gather all the information on the market before making a decision. Donald Trump, a deal maker, he's able to complete a multi-million-dollar project ahead of schedule and below budget, in part because he's taken care of all the details or held others accountable for taking care of the details. Now, Bill Gates, he's an introverted creator. Even though he's able to deal with the details of computer coding, he's still teamed up with an accumulator to ground the Microsoft business. Now, the Global Details Meta Program, it's a bit weird because one type of person may handle minute details, but as they do so, in the back of their mind, they may be thinking of how the details relate to the bigger picture. So they have the ability to move from global to details and back again. Whereas another person may just get lost in the details with no idea of the bigger picture. At the other end of the spectrum, there are those people, sometimes politicians, who may get lost in their ideology at the expense of the specifics. So now let's look at the adaptation, perceiving, judging meta program. This is about controlling and releasing. So do others see you as structured or flexible? Are you comfortable with just gathering information, or do you need to draw conclusions and form an opinion? So perceivers tend to be more open-ended, whereas judges need closure. If something is not okay in the world, a perceiver will try to change themselves to fit in with it, whereas a judger will try and change others to think and behave like themselves. Perceivers are generally happy to go along with what others want to do. A judger feels uncomfortable unless they know what is going to happen. Perceivers will make a dinner date for the weekend and leave it at that, whereas judges will want to know which day, the exact time, the restaurant, and what is on the menu so that they can think about it beforehand. The perceiving judging meta program is closely related to options and procedures. So this is the organizational style meta program. So would you rather explore options, or would you rather get down to the steps and stages and follow procedures? Do you feel comfortable with having your options open, or do you need closure? Do you need to know how something is going to be done, or are you comfortable with working things out as you go along? In a conversation, do you stay on track, or do you find that your mind takes you in other directions and on to different topics of conversation? Options is a function of creativity, whereas procedures is a function of doing and achieving. So let's look at the quality of life meta program, be, do, have. So this meta program relates to the verbs to be, to do, and to have. And you're going to hear it in a person's language. So are you the type of person who just likes to hang out in your heart and just be? Or would you rather be doing something? Or is your focus on getting and having? Are you more of a human doing, or a human being, or someone who's a gotta get? And now to the internal state meta program, thinking, feeling. Do you make decisions based upon how you feel or how you think about something? Is your preference to reference your feelings or your mind? And those people whose preference is to reference their mind may be seen as logical, rational, academic, and sometimes even cold and heartless. Those people who reference their feelings may be experienced as being irrational, emotional, and as wearing their heart on their sleeve. To a degree, the feeling person is inside the cinema in their mind and therefore associated into the kinesthetics. The thinking person has stepped back from the cinema in their mind and therefore dissociated from the feeling. One is referencing the feelings of the body, while the other is referencing the thoughts in their mind. So now we get to attention, direction, meta program, self, other. So is the attention on self or other? Those with a self-meta program will need to take care of their own needs and wants first, while those with an other meta program will tend to put others' needs and wants before their own. Now, to achieve success at the highest level, we need to strike a balance between taking care of others and taking care of self. Most people would be familiar with the safety message given by the airline crew. Just after takeoff, if the cabin should lose pressure, an oxygen mask may drop from the ceiling. If you are traveling with a child, what do they tell you to do? They tell you to put it on yourself first. What would be your inclination? Would you put it on yourself first or on the child? Those people with a self-meta program may shift a topic of conversation back onto themselves or onto a topic that interests them. But this attention on self may have a negative side effect and result in self-consciousness. And those people who feel anxious about speaking in public are more likely to have a self-meta program. Well, at least in the context of public speaking. And the focus is on how they look, how they sound, how they feel, and what others think of them. To be a great presenter, a great performer in any context, whether that be in delivering a speech to shareholders in the boardroom, performing on stage, or making love, the attention needs to be on the other person and on how they respond to your delivery. So now we get to relationship comparison meta program. Sameness, difference, match, mismatch. So the relationship meta program measures the relationship between things, matching for sameness and how things relate, mismatching for difference and how things don't relate, and wanting either stability or change. So matches agree while mismatches disagree. A matcher will agree with that statement while a mismatcher will disagree. Matches are yes people. Match another person's body posture, voice tonality, volume and tempo, words, dress and behavior, and you build rapport. Do something different and you lose rapport. A matcher will remain with the topic of conversation, while a mismatcher will bounce onto another topic each time you raise a new point. In a learning environment, a mismatcher may find it difficult to follow a procedure. Their natural inclination may be to do things differently. In some cases, they may have a polarity response and find themselves doing the exact opposite. And as stated before, matches sought for sameness, while mismatches sought for difference. So do you like routine, or do you need to do something different? Do you like eating the same food at the same restaurant over and over again, or would you rather something different? Are there times when you eat at a food franchise and other times when you want to change? Would you travel to a foreign country and eat at a familiar food franchise, or would you explore the local cuisine? Are you happy hanging around with the same group of friends, or are you constantly on the lookout to meet new people? How long is it before you lose interest in something and you search for something new? Do you think all politicians as being the same, or do you sort for how they differ? How long is it before you need to change your job, your employer, your occupation, your car, your home, your partner? Do you follow fashion to be part of a group or to be different? Have you stayed in one job for a long time, or did you keep changing your occupation, your employer, and where you worked? So those people with a sameness meta program will look for what they themselves and others do right. They will support and encourage others towards achieving a goal. If they are sameness and details, then they will recognize incremental steps in improvement. Mismatches will point out what you have not done right and what you have yet to achieve. Those with a sameness meta program will find it easier to build rapport with another person as they sort for similarities in attitudes, values, beliefs, and behaviors. while those with a difference meta program may find it difficult to build rapport as they think about and express what is different between them. So now we get to the direction and motivation meta program, the towards and away from. So what motivates you to action? The stick or the carrot? Are you motivated to action at the thought of what could happen if you don't take action, or by the thought of what you could achieve? Do you only take action when things begin to get bad? And as things get worse, you become more motivated to action. Now, smokers, drug users, those people who drink too much alcohol or eat too much junk food may be motivated to change their lifestyle only when things get really bad. Others take a more proactive approach, and even though they may be using an away from strategy, they take care of the health before they get sick. So are you reactive or proactive? And there's a balance between towards and away from that creates like a push-pull energy that creates like a propulsion system to action.